Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 163 of Geeks Chasing Squirrels across the multiverse. My name is Greg. I am the Bad Daddy 52. We had a long break. A lot of things going on the last 2 weeks, Christmas and New Year's and all that good stuff. And I honestly didn't get as much watched as I thought I was going to or really wanted to. But I got some important stuff watched. And we're going to talk about that kind of stuff tonight. But got to welcome everybody back. Room filled with heroes as always. Sarah, what's up?
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
2023.
I've only had to write the date down one time. So I've only messed up one time.
I know. Same here. It started with a bang, though. I'm telling you. Woo! I'm just.
That is
good thoughts. Putting good energy out there. So. Miss seeing you fellas.
Yeah, I miss seeing you too. 2023 is going to be my year. Like I got this figured out. Ross, what's up, man?
Not much, man. The abuse is back, baby.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been as long as it has. I've been sick, man. I've been shoring it up this week, so I'm finally starting to feel better. I don't know what it is. I guess you could just that like post seeing everybody crud or something.
There might be a bug going around. Ashley's been kind of sick this week, so I'm not really sure.
When you have 20 degrees, you got dropped down to like the teens. So you had Mother Nature trying to kill us, and then it gives us 70 degrees, and you're like, can we at least kind of chill on the thermostat? Somebody's playing with the thermostat too much.
Well, we were supposed to have Christmas at the house, and then the pipes froze on Christmas.
Oh no!
Oh, you're still. Oh no!
Yeah, we couldn't do anything. I was down and I forgot to leave the pipes running, and the pipes froze on Christmas, so we weren't able to do Christmas at our house. We still had all the food though.
Wait a second. Wait. What happened on Thanksgiving? Because you also did the same thing on Thanksgiving.
I was sick.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So
it's something about holidays, man.
I know. That happens. But we're back. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to recap the last 3 weeks of stuff we've missed, but I'm pretty sure we're going to mostly just kind of focus on this week because anybody who's listening has been past the last few weeks, and you don't want to go back and think about all that kind of stuff. We might touch on some stuff here and there, but do y'all want to talk about just news or things in general between now and then that have happened? Because it's been 3 weeks, so something has to have generated. Ross, you're the news guy.
I know, right?
Your mind. Did he freeze up?
It looks like he did. Oh my goodness.
Well, Ross is usually the news guy, and I don't really know a lot of things to talk about as far as news goes. Because
I don't know either. Things have just kind of been all over the place. I don't know. It's like I'm more interested in like the new stuff that's coming out this year. That's basically all I'm trying to focus on right now. I'm just and I'm to the point where I'll hear news. It's like, but I won't believe it until I see it. It's just like I don't even know. I don't even want to have an opinion, honestly.
No. I get you, and I'm kind of at that point too, where I want to be more reactionary than anticipatory. I don't know. I don't want to anticipate things. Yeah. There you go. And things are so ever changing, and honestly, I've just kind of unplugged.
Like here, man, because you never know what to believe.
So great. Like I'll notice there'll be like a day where I'll be on social media like quite a bit, like talking about something. It's usually sports related, because those are pretty safe. It's a pretty safe realm. But I, other than that, man, I just kind of unplug, and Ross brings me some news, or people send me text messages or ask me about stuff, but I don't look up a whole lot of details about things going on right now. But Ross looks like he's back. Can you hear me? No, not back. You can't hear me. Oh well. Okay. Well. We'll try to figure out what's going on with that. Yeah. See, this is the New Year's 2023. First problem of the year.
Great
first
start.
Person in the Matrix. That's right.
We're for real. It's like nothing is proof that it's not planned.
Okay, well, while we wait for him, I'm not going to go into huge detail about this because we're going to talk about it later. But I did finally finish a show that you and Ross have been asking me to finish, and I've been watching Rebels the last two seasons, the last 2 weeks, and just kind of slowly finishing it. And I saved the finale for tonight, and we're gonna get into it. But man, I've got some stuff to talk to y'all about.
Hold your head right.
Okay, yeah. So Ross is back. What's up, man?
And y'all pick on me about my.
Oh.
And you pick on me.
Why does it keep dropping me out?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't like you, but.
Yeah, I don't know. It lost me for a second. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
We were just passing things.
You got any news for us?
And there ain't a whole lot of news. It's been Christmas and New Year's, and like,
I know.
I mean, everyone has heard like the Mary Winstead news possibly playing what's her face in the Ahsoka show, Hera. Have you heard that one?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I mean, that's a little bit more than just a rumor, so I mean, hopefully that's going to happen. Other than that, there's been some new things, but not a whole lot of serious drops. I mean, the news has been Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays, whatever it is that you do. The news has been Greg watching Rebels, which I know you were about to do, and I'm not going to hold this up any longer. So let's do that.
Well, do you want to start with that? Or you want to finish with that? I don't really care. But I know that the thing that Rebels changes is that news changes for me completely. Like that doesn't mean much to me at all before watching this series, but it means a lot to me now. Oh man, and it's going to be so good. I can't wait. But do y'all want to talk about that first, or actually, you know what? Since there's not a lot of news, what have you been watching the last 2 weeks? I know Ross, you sent a list the other day, and there's a lot of stuff that I really wanted to watch, but I'm not going to lie, I haven't spent a lot of time that I've been down watching television. A lot of sleeping, but my wife's been hooked on The Blacklist. I don't know if y'all have seen that. It's a fantastic show.
3 seasons or something of
that. It's a fantastic show. So we've kind of been hooked on that. We've been watching that. But the funny thing about that is, I mean, it's 9 seasons, like 24 episodes a season, like an hour an episode. It's a long series to watch.
Do you hear Ultron?
Oh yeah. Well, every time I watch it, I'm even more amazed every time I watched it that I can't believe I didn't recognize that was the guy from Stargate. From the original movie.
Really?
I just never realized that, and now that I look at it, I'm like, holy crap, that's him. That's the young James Spader. Like that's insane.
What about Pretty in Pink?
What about Pretty in Pink?
Don't know if I've ever seen Pretty in Pink. To be honest with you. But yeah, I've been watching that. I've been watching Rebels. I'm trying to think. There's not really much else new. What's the new Stallone series?
Oh, the
Tulsa King.
Yeah, Tulsa King.
Yeah, I've been watching that. It's pretty.
Is that good?
It's pretty good. It's worth a watch. We caught up on 1923 because we liked 1773. We like Yellowstone, so those were all pretty good. Or is it 1883?
I was gonna say that's a little bit before America.
1883. Yeah. I was like, something's not right.
Stay on the year.
Yeah, math is not my thing, so that's math because it has numbers.
Did you get a chance to watch Jack Ryan season 3?
I was season 3 the new one.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No, I haven't watched it. So I have to.
You haven't watched Jack Ryan?
I have not watched Jack Ryan.
I thought you finished. I thought you finished. You did a catch-up watch since you didn't watch seasons 1 and 2.
I did a catch-up watch like a month and a half ago because I thought it was coming out like a month and a half ago. So whatever was there, I caught up on. So I'm caught up to that point. But if the new ones come out, I haven't watched.
All 3 seasons are 100% worth it.
Oh yeah, worth it. Yeah. The first 2 are fantastic. I guarantee they're worth it. I'm sure that as soon as I tell Ashley that it's out,
not disappoint.
So I'll probably start watching it tonight. But no, I have not watched that. So, but if y'all talk about it,
so good.
I can't see Jim Halpert in the same light now. I just can't. I just can't.
It's crazy, but he is such a fantastic actor that you would think it would pull you out of it because I love The Office that much, and that's forever going to be, he's going to be Jim Halpert. But he does do a fantastic job pulling himself out of that. I will say that whenever I saw him as Mr. Fantastic, it still was like Jim Halpert-ish. Like it felt like Jim Halpert doing
it was his face. Like you didn't have any roots in that character, so yeah, it was definitely like his face, and it was just the shock and awe because no one knew what was going to happen. No one. everyone heard rumors and stuff, but yeah, I mean, to see him play that role after it being fan casted for so long, to me, he is Jack Ryan. Like, he plays that so well. There's just something about it. The first season picks up perfect. I don't want to get too far into it if we want to wait. I don't know if you want to watch it before like next week or something and talk about it, but
I'll probably try to watch it for next week. Y'all can talk about it if you want to. I'm sure it's not going to be goldfish memory. I'm sure it's not going to be spoilers. Look. Okay, no. Okay, here's the thing. I know, like, I've known how Rebels ended. I still watched the finale about an hour and a half ago, and it still is like a tearjerker. It's still like, oh, that's so beautiful. That's so perfectly done. Like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming, and it's so perfectly done that it's still. So even if I know something's going to happen, like, it's still going to. So I mean, I'm sure you're not going to go like, just how about this? Talk about it, but don't go super deep spoilers on it. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you can know what happens, but not knowing the lead up to it. That's still, the fun part about it. Yeah. It's like, there's some movies I know what's going to happen, but I don't know what the lead up is for it to happen. So to me, it doesn't really 100% spoil it, but still, you're just like, you know what's coming.
For Jack Ryan, there's a plot that I didn't think that they were really going to be able to successfully redo because it's been done countless times. And they pulled it off to a point to where I wasn't even worried about it, like almost the whole entire show. It was just inside me. I'm like, I've seen this done so many times because a lot of shows I really like have played the, like the Russia, Ukraine, like all that area to have the moral war, the spy war, the secret war, all the wars that go into how we operate in the real world. But man, if this show just doesn't pull it off well, still in 2022,
you've always got to go to Prague.
Shot it, yeah,
you've always got to go to Prague. Always.
But it's really good. And I thought that what I think is really excellent is that a lot of shows that I see where they redo seasons, we watch a bunch of stuff to where the new season comes out, and I always get worried that the new season is going to be like what I call the other day, the reskin of like the last thing that we just watched. Like, now they're going to do the same thing in this place. Jack Ryan does that, but it does it so well. I'm not even, it's not a thought in my head.
Kind of a Green Arrow or Flash type thing.
Yeah. It's where like there's just a new big bad and they keep doing it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jack Ryan is one of those good shows that you don't feel that when you're watching it. You don't feel like you're stuck in last season.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the rewatch because I know we watched season 1, and then when season 2 came out, we never watched continued watching it, and then I know 3 was coming out, and I was mixed up in the dates, so I just rewatched everything all over, and I'm not sure where I got to, but I watched whatever was up to the point they had up to about a month and a half ago, and I know the last season just came out like 2 weeks ago, so I haven't seen the new season yet, but once again, I know Ashley's gonna love it because she loves the character.
Yeah, I think that's like 8 episodes.
Yes.
Because I think when I started, I was like, okay, I got to 6, and it got to be like, I don't know, midnight. And I'm like, I'll save these other 2 for the next morning.
Yeah. So, I did the same thing. I was like pacing myself.
Yeah, exactly. Because I probably would have sat there and watched those last 2. Like, nothing. It was nice, drinking my coffee the next morning. And just, oh my God. And then I was like so pissed off when it ended because I'm like, no.
Yep. I get to wait another year or 2.
Right.
I know, right?
I found that what me and Ashley will do is we'll start a show, and it will be the show that plays for the next day and a half on the television if there's enough episodes. And it doesn't matter what it is; it's what's playing. If we're in the bedroom or we're watching TV, it's what's on, and we get hooked on it. So I'm sure that if I tell her Jack Ryan's out there, pretty much, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's
good.
Well, that's why when we were texting back and forth, and I put that list out there of things that I did watch just to kind of see what you guys have watched, and like I kind of felt like I was on a content break. Seriously, like I just didn't want to watch something new. I didn't want to. I'm not doing this. Who's doing this? Who's doing this?
You know what, man? I'm not touching nothing.
All right.
Hands up. I got one hand
doing
on
it
the
before
mic.
we even started.
I got to hold the mic up like an interview. Yeah.
But No, like I kind of wanted to stop watching stuff. I was getting like extremely zoned out on like too much screen time. So like I definitely swore it off for a little while. I only watched TV when we were doing like Christmas and events, or someone had on the background. I didn't even watch Christmas movies. And so
I didn't either.
At night I put TV on a little bit, and I was only watching, like feel good nonsense background stuff. And then I was like, okay, Witcher Blood Origins came out, and I'm like, I'm all over that. I'm gonna watch that whole. There's only 4 episodes, and I don't know if you watched it, but it's pretty dang
that's
good.
on my list.
Yeah. It's definitely a. I mean, it is a spin-off show. It's an origin show. Clearly, it's got it in the name, but I mean, it's really good just because it takes you to the point at the end of the 4 episodes where it leaves you off is you start, you're finding out about Witchers this whole entire time. And even though the acting may be a little too crazy, it's still a fantasy show. So it works out really well. I watched Amsterdam because you said to watch Amsterdam. It was good. It was a good little fun time.
Yeah. Amsterdam.
I loved that movie. I don't know what it was about it. I don't know if it was just the subtleties of it, because it wasn't in your face, and some of it was so ridiculous, but yet it was still. It was just a fun movie to watch. It was fun. It was kind of. It was like it was.
Give me the plot.
What's
Amsterdam about?
You've got like
it's Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and what's his name? What's the guy from Tenet? Yeah, I can't remember his first name, but those 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was funny because I can't remember if it was that character, because Margot Robbie's character was like really throwing off some Rita vibes, not the way she was kind of carrying herself.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just
like Rita Repulsa from Power.
Like,
Rita from Madame Rouge.
Rita Farr. Rita Farr.
Okay, I'm trying to think of how many Ritas I have in my mind, and I was like, how many Ritas am I going to think of?
Because it was after what, the First
World War One. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, you have Bale's character and Washington's character. They met on. Let's see. They were on the continent. They were like it. It was really crazy. I mean, it's kind of hard to kind of explain it, because you first meet Bale's character, and he's an odd cat. He's just strange, and you find out he's got a war injury, and you got to remember this is like what 20? No, shit. I don't even. Numbers are hard. I'm not going to try to think years.
It was 1920 something.
And plus, he's a doctor. He's a doctor. So that's really crazy too. And it's just the relationships of everybody, I think, is what's so crazy. So in his regiment, he meets, I cannot remember the character's names, but anyway, so he meets Washington's character, and he was a member of a black regiment, and was so funny. And Chris Rock was actually one of the actors as well. So, and Chris Rock was being Chris Rock. So, I mean, it was pleasant. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it was still fun.
What's it on?
So, I mean, it was almost kind of like a caricature of a lot of like characters and that kind of thing. So, and then they meet each other. Well, they have something that happens that kind of brings them together, and then that's when they meet Margot Robbie's character. So they end up being kind of like this threesome, as you will, but not in that way, friendship wise.
The tripod.
But anyway,
they're a tripod.
Basically. Yes, exactly. Kind of like this,
Yeah.
Cool guys, that kind of thing. So, and then they kind of like, well, we're gonna. What did they call each other? They had some word that they called each other for their relationships or whatever. Anyway, so long story short, come back over and all this, and they end up meeting each other. And then there's like this big, what was this plot and all this kind of stuff. So all that kind of unfolds. But like I said, it's just like.
It's about the beginning of Nazism is what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
The whole movie is about how America got duped after the First World War by like big business and everything else, and how it's leading towards the eventual Second World War. And it's loosely based on a very real story. Okay. What makes it even better is the fact that you have all these characters that play play their parts perfect, and so you're looking at it under a very honed in lens instead of just looking at the big historical point of view of it.
Okay.
And it's funny, and it's pretty good pace. Bale's hilarious, I think.
Oh my gosh, all of them are just nuts. I mean, it's just Bale's facial expressions. I'm like, especially the eye.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really fun watch. It really was. I think Brian had watched it. I think maybe when he flew to Texas, I think maybe he watched it on the plane, and he's like, "Sarah, you've got to watch this," because I've never really had a inclination, but I'm like, "Okay, we'll sit down and watch it." And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
It was in my list.
It's one
it was
I'd
actually.
Watch again.
It was on my saved movies to watch on HBO or on my playlist or whatever. And then I watched Joker. Finally.
Did you finally?
What'd you think about that?
Interesting take. I can totally understand that character. How he was written, with the mass anxiety, the psycho mother, the turnaround to actually commit a crime in a world that seems like it's completely unfair. I mean, it was too real almost to be a comic book style movie. And I love the range that comic book movies go, because, a lot of people don't like where, like Phase 4 Marvel, prime example, they think it's a little too comic booky, and people love Winter Soldier because it seems like it's based in a more real world. Joker's too real. I mean, man, I can't imagine the progression of that character with a character like Batman, and then you throw in the whole Rogues Gallery. I mean, a realism would be too extreme for the populace to truly enjoy. I mean, it would lead to so much crazy stuff in the real world because, idiots take cues from movies. So it was a good movie, though. I won't rob that from it at all. It was a really well-made movie. Mm-hmm. It was just an extreme take on a comic book movie.
All right. Well, and that just shows you have to have that little bit of fantastical in this genre of movies, and almost in every kind of, just about every kind of movie does. Not even comic book movies, there's got to be some, I was just talking to my wife about it the other day. One of the funniest things about shows and television shows and movies is the way they portray guns. Not so much the violence of them or anything, but too many times people are firing guns, just firing them, and nobody doesn't hurt anybody's ears at all. If you've ever fired a gun, just fired a handgun, just fired
there's
one.
No flinching, and
it's not pleasant on your ears. And having a lot of them at one time around your head is not pleasant at all. And they don't ever portray that in movies. And I was like, that's one thing they don't depict very well. So
I mean, you do get a lot of the tinnitus honing sound, whenever, that explosion. I can't stand that high pitched noise when they do that in theaters. Cause I mean, it screws with my head from real explosions and gunshots and stuff like that. So to hear it again on screen, you're just oh, no. Yeah. But no, you're right. It is.
You got to throw a little fantastical in everything.
Yeah. And what else did I watch? Some other stuff wasn't that good. Glass Onion was good. Did you watch Glass Onion?
I watched half of Glass Onion.
Yeah.
I didn't know about it.
Now, did you watch the first
No.
Knives Out movie?
Knives Out.
No, but I'm going to go back and watch it because I imagine it was pretty good.
Yeah, and a lot of people are, because a lot of people didn't watch Knives Out the first time around. But I'll tell you right now, Glass Onion was... You don't need to watch Knives Out to understand Glass Onion at all.
I agree. I knew nothing about it. Yeah.
Well, I think that was the whole point. What was it? Ryan Johnson that did that movie?
Ryan Johnson. Yeah.
He said he didn't want people to say that. To be separate movies.
You could tell there was a connection, but it didn't. It didn't take me away from anything I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
So
he got into it with the studio because he didn't want Knives Out attached to it.
Yeah, I mean they were both murder mysteries. So, but I mean they were done so well. It was just two separate things. I mean it was. I don't know. It was a lot more fun than Clue.
I love that comment they made in that movie too, because it's in Clue, we would have been done by now or whatever. You gotta watch Joker.
I haven't watched Joker, so
took me forever to do it. I finally did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nathan, you got to, man. Come on.
It's a good movie. It's just it's like Ross said, it's hard to put this in any connected
Well, see,
universe.
that was my one thing about Joker too, because I'm like, you could have taken every single comment, like name, you could have taken it out, and it could have been like any other name, anything that wasn't connected to DC. It still would have been a good movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the only thing I was like, I felt like it was a good movie, and they just kind of threw this in there because I just couldn't see really how it could connect to anything else because it was something totally different. And like Ross, you were saying, because if you really like wanted to stay in that world and bring in like a Batman or any of the other ones, it would get crazy. Because I mean, it's more realistic than anything that we've really seen before.
So Ross, I got a question for you then. Just seeing it, does it make you want to see Joker 2 more? Does it make you more excited for Joker 2? Or is it still kind of if it's there, I'll see it, but because I know you're not anti-Joker 2, but like, I mean,
like
for me, it's kind of
anti-Joker.
I'll see it kind of movie, you know?
Yeah. I said countless times that, it's the fact that all this stuff is connected that I love the most. And with the Joker being an outlier movie, it was on the back burner for me because I didn't feel like I needed to rush out and see it in order to connect it to anything else that was happening in the future. So with Joker 2 coming out, I mean, I will watch it. I can't guarantee that I'm going to go watch it in the movie theater, but I'm like, I want to see it. If those steals that you sent us a couple weeks ago, which, look, if Lady Gaga is going to play any sort of Harley Quinn, I mean, good for her. I'm interested to see what it's going to be about.
You're right. It does just look like her kind of normal.
It just looks like Lady Gaga. Like I don't, there is no connection there that I need with that. And so I think that it'd be interesting to see where they take it. Yes. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a rush job though.
So Nathan says he's out of all Johnson's movies. He broke Star Wars on purpose. Then can call anybody who didn't like the man babies, basement livers. He said, middle fingers up to him. That's just me. I'm not going to disagree that I don't like the way they went with Star Wars. I won't disagree with that at all. But yeah, I don't have any love for Johnson. I'm trying to think, is there anything that he's made that I loved?
I mean, he's made quite a bit, but he's made
quite a bit.
Glass Onion bit has been very popular for him lately. So,
but I get it. To each his own. Everybody has their thing. But yeah, I got to finish watching Glass Onion. I know Ashley liked it too, but we both fell asleep, so we're gonna have to go back and give that a full rewatch. I mean, it's a movie, so we'll sit down and watch the whole thing. What about you, Sarah? What have you been watching in this last 2 weeks?
Well, obviously, Avatar. We actually saw it in 3D, and then we went back and saw it in 2D because we caught like the first few minutes of it because
that good.
Realize we went to the wrong damn theater. But 3D, yes, I recommend seeing it in 3D. But 2D, 2D is still good. It's still good.
These are the kind of movies made for 3D, though. It seems. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because of the type of I guess the way it was shot. I mean, that's the whole point. But I enjoyed it.
Weta does a fantastic job with all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're like totally immersed in it, and I mean, it's still, everybody has their own opinions of Cameron and Avatar and this, that, and other. I still feel like it sucks that it was, almost 13 years since the first Avatar came out, and that's a long time between movies. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I still enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't really have like the same. I don't know, like the same wow factor as like the first time, saw Avatar, because we, like I told you guys, we went and watched it, or took the kids to see it again when it was re-released in the theater. And to me, it still had the same magic, because that movie, for some reason, I just think it's awesome. But to see it, in a different iteration with the characters that are, have moved on, a little bit older, you are introducing new characters and this kind of thing. I mean, the family side of it, a lot of people think it's kind of stale as far as like the actual story itself, but I kind of connected with it. I mean, it was something that I felt it. I felt it big time. So I don't know. It just kind of depends on the way. If you like it, if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. And people are still going to have it's still visually stunning, and people still are going to complain about the dialogue, the characters. They're saying, oh, it was, still kind of stale, but I mean, it's what I expected, and I still enjoyed it, and I'll probably see it again. I'm not in theater, not as many times as I saw the first one, but the second one, I mean, it's still a fun movie, but I didn't feel the length of it because there was a lot more action in this.
That's a good thing.
I don't know. It was just
right.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like you're sitting there like, oh my, like, oh my God, it's like, is it ever gonna? What point are we getting to it? But I mean, it was good. There was a lot of questions that are still. It's almost like I kind of want to have a third one so you can answer some of these damn questions that I've got, because I'm like,
Not only do you get a third one, you get a fourth one and a fifth one.
I know, but have you heard anything about the third one yet?
What?
The third one, now from what I have gathered, now whatever, is like it could be possibly taking like it's like volcanic. So it's almost like, okay, we've had the forest, we've had the water, and now are we gonna like go to the fire? I mean, what's going on?
We're only missing Morgan Freeman narrating this damn thing. That's all. The only thing we're missing right now.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, I mean, it's and that's another criticism of this movie, because it's so like Dances with Wolves. It's so this, but I mean, it is about colonialism. It is about the colonization. I mean, I will say this much: Avatar 2 made me hate humans a hell of a lot more than the first one.
Really,
especially that one scene, seeing it again. I'm like, can you kill this son of a bitch a little bit quicker? Because this is, but it's like, it's elemental. I mean, it has a lot of, it's like I said, the colonization thing, where humans come in and think, oh, we're just gonna do what the hell we want to. We're like, hey, you're not the only species
like
in this
bunch
universe.
of male cats just pissing on everything. That's mine. That's mine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, it's it's still that. I mean, it's still kind of like that. It feels like, with the Native Americans and, with the Europeans. I mean, you still have that, coming in and trying to take over somebody, a indigenous population that's already there. You're like, I don't care. We're going to make them bow, to what we want, because they have something. And the unobtainium in Avatar 2. See, no, I'm like, that's some bullshit right there. That's just some straight bullshit. That made me mad. That made me mad.
I was like, this is going to be Sarah's key point right here. And this whole entire movie is going to be this scene.
Well, okay. Number one, how did they even discover that? Number two, how did you even figure out how to even get that? And then number three, y'all can all burn in hell for the way they go about getting it. So, I mean, that got me. That really got me. But for the most part, I mean, it was a fun movie. It's a fun watch.
I do not love new reasons to hate humans, so I definitely want to go see that one.
Oh, this will 100% give you a whole new reason. Yeah, I'm like, you bastards. That's all I can sit there and think. I'm like, just it's like, I hate y'all. It's like, I don't even want to be me.
I know I'm off next weekend, so I might go see it next weekend. I'm not sure, but I definitely want to go see this in theaters. I didn't get to go see the first one in theaters. I was mad at myself after I finally saw the first one. I was like, damn, I wish I would have seen this in theaters.
That was a time, like when the first one came out, it was like revolutionary as far as movies go. That was the whole push. There wasn't in my personal point of view, there wasn't a solid 3D movie before or really after Avatar. Like, they did such a good job with everything in that movie, just because it wasn't overdone. The colors, the vibrancy of the whole entire shot, and like same thing. I thought the same thing you just said, Sarah, and a lot of other people have been saying, is that they were able to pull it off and duplicate it the second time around. Mm-hmm. Seeing the stuff fly in the air, seeing the dimension, the depth. I mean, it is awesome.
And that's the thing about it.
Like, you're there
with the water, because literally those water scenes are just unbelievable. unbelievable, because at some point you're like, you have to like tell your eyes, I'm like, this is not real, but this sure as hell looks real. I mean,
I only had a problem with one
like,
thing, and I won't bring it up until Greg, after you've seen it. Like, you can talk about it after you've seen it. I don't want to spoil anything, but like, there's only one scene in there that really took me out of it, as far as the CG and the shots and everything else. I was able to buy almost all of it, because you don't really know. They say it's pretty much just like Earth, and which I'm assuming that Pandora is a moon of Jupiter by the shots that they've shown in this whole entire thing. Is that what we're led to believe? Because I can't remember the first time around.
Yeah, it's a moon. I don't think they ever really like state exactly what
Jupiter's in the background in a couple shots, and so that's where I was trying to decide, how long is space travel and all the other mess for them to get there, so on and so forth. But the it makes you question like gravity and like how water falls and all that kind of stuff. Like, but there was only one scene to where I wasn't worried about the elemental side of it as much as I was the, I guess you call it mocap, the fighting and like the physical interaction between more than one person or more than two people. But really, I said it when I brought it up recently. Someone asked me before they walked into the theater what it was about. Like, what did you think about it? And the only thing I could say was it was Avatar 2. Like, imagine Avatar, but they made a second one. Right. And like, that's really what, really like, all that it was.
One was in the trees. This was in the water. That's the difference.
And I don't want to rob it of the great parts that it does have, because it is a good watch, and it definitely lays the groundwork for the next few movies. We'll talk a little bit more about the characters after you watched it, but I mean, it's like it. I can see myself liking 3, 4, or 5 more than definitely this one if they go to a certain extreme. Just because they introduced some new things in this movie, it does suck that it took 13 years.
Right.
And I think that's probably one thing that's going to hurt it, though. And that's what I don't,
Well, do you really think so, though? Like with this one being a success, I think that it's very easy for somebody to go back and say, well, this is only the second movie of the series. I can go back and watch the first movie. Then I have these next ones coming out. We have the next 3 coming out within the next, 8 years? So, I mean, they're going to be
every 2 years.
Recent. 2 years? Well, 2 years apart.
Every 2 years.
2 years. Yeah. So, yeah. So I mean, they're going to be somewhat recent. So, I mean, I feel like
they're recent now. That isn't your argument you can have. The other side of that argument is that we live at breakneck speed when it comes to technology and the way that we consume stuff. And it was over 10 years. It was 13 years since the last one. And don't get me wrong, it hung around for quite a bit, and a lot of people loved it. But you got to get those people back on the same train. Right. And it's possible now that it's going to be in your face and there constantly for the next 8 years, like I said. So we'll see.
It's from everything I've heard from everybody else. I haven't heard somebody say anything bad about it. So like from the success of it being in the movie theaters right now and it being so good, like it's overcome the distance from the first movie that it came out, which I agree is, from what it seems like, the only bad part about this series I've seen so far, from what people are saying, the length of the movies and the distance between 1 and 3, or 1 and 2, excuse me.
I was lucky; I had an intermission, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And the power goes out in the movie theater, and they're like, "Sorry, everybody." And we're like, "Wait, we're like halfway through this movie. It's a perfect time for a bathroom break."
Nathan says he just wants to see blue people touching head tails. Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, everybody's got their thing.
A sucker is like a Swiss Army knife, man. I mean, you don't know what it can touch and like what it can combine with and what it can't. I mean, you could just be walking by a plant and boom, pregnant. I don't know. Weird things. I will say, though, I am heavily contemplating going to see Ant-Man in 3D. And what was the other one that comes out after that? Maybe Guardians, but Ant-Man, I think I may go see in 3D because
so you went before? Okay.
I'm not big on 3D movies at all. I went to go see Avatar in the theater over there by Four Seasons Mall, the Grand that they have in Winston, massive screen, and it was fantastic to actually watch on that big screen. But watching those trailers come up, when the Ant-Man trailer came up, the same one that we've all seen with the Elton John music and all that, I was like, oh man, like this may be, this may be trippier than what people thought Doctor Strange was actually going to be, and it wasn't. The Multiverse of Madness one.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, I was a little disappointed with that. I know the first one was great to go see in 3D, and then like I said, you had to see the second one in 3D, and the second one wasn't as impressive in 3D for me. Maybe because I was expecting,
Doctor
expectations
Strange?
ruin things. Yeah, Doctor Strange. What did I say?
Nothing. I just didn't know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I just didn't say anything. I got you. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go see it. I'm very particular about going to see 3D movies because you're right. Sometimes it's just not worth it. Like I remember, I
was not a fan of second Doctor Strange in 3D. That movie, I was not. That didn't. Yeah. I thought it was going to be cool, but I was like, that was probably one I could have like not done because it was.
I think that I am like 100% on board for seeing Ant-Man Quantumania in 3D. I'm pretty. When I saw that, like I said, you go watch this movie. You go watch Avatar 2. You see if you get those trailers. You probably should. And I've already liked that. I think Ant-Man may be one of my most anticipated Marvel things coming out. So to see it on screen in 3D with that trailer, you let me know what you think when you see it.
Well, let's go see it together. We'll go see it in 3D together, man. We'll make a plan of it.
Ant-Man, yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm down. Well, was there anything else you watched or anything else you want to touch on about Avatar, or did you want to say anything else you'd watched, Sarah?
I'm trying to think. What else did I really watch? Hell, I don't know. It's been like a blur. I mean, it's like I said, we got sucked down into the rabbit hole of The Office again, which that's always a classic. That's always a classic. My son loves it, which
always fun to watch.
He received the Office Lego set for Christmas.
Okay.
So Santa came through with that. So yeah, he even had a little spot on. He's been wanting that for probably the past 6 to 8 months. So I'm like, okay. Trying to think what else have we been watching. I did watch some movies that I haven't watched in a while. Or I don't think I've ever seen, like Rambo, First Blood. Never seen that before.
Okay.
Never saw it before. Yeah. I mean, I knew of it. I think I might have seen it's kind of like Predator. I knew I'd seen clips, but I'd never seen everything put together. So how I missed Stallone's fantastic monologue at the end of that movie is beyond me. How did I go all, my life and not, but hey, now I know. Now I know. God, I'm trying to think what else. I think the only thing current that I ever keep up on, and yes, this is showing how old of a lady I am. I know you were talking about Blacklist. I love Blue Bloods. So I can make sure I was so excited when I found out there was 3 new episodes of Blue Bloods. I was like, yes. Prodigy.
Didn't watch Prodigy.
It ended.
From what I understand.
This second half of this first, because it was still the second half of the first season, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. It really pulled a lot together.
Is this the animated series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Nickelodeon animated series?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. It really pulled, it's Nickelodeon. It really pulled it together. I mean, it was more, I don't want to say Star Trek-y, but I mean, it had more of a story. It wasn't where it's the first half of it, you're meeting all these characters and it's kind of setting everything up. Yes, Nathan, I'm old.
This is Blue Bloods. What do you mean?
Be quiet. And everybody has a guilty pleasure. But
right.
And I can honestly say I did watch Magnum P.I. growing up. So yes, I do remember young Tom Selleck with the stash and the Ferrari. So yes. But yeah, Prodigy was really good. I mean, they're short episodes. It's a really fun little watch. I'm really hoping they'll have another season. Honestly, I don't know if I need to have that many episodes in it, but I think it'd be something fun to watch. Because it felt like 2. But
2 seasons is what it felt like. Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, why didn't they just do 2 seasons instead of elongating the one? So
it's a great show to get kids into Star Trek, man. I mean, it's
right.
It is it does the legwork of trying to teach you the elementary reasons of why you can't screw around with genomes and blend different races and stuff together. I mean, like all the stuff that you've seen in Picard and Next Generation and like all of these different things have all been somehow brought into Prodigy in a way that didn't feel like it was like forced upon you at all. They weren't trying to. I guess they were trying to teach you, but they weren't trying to like shove it down your throat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know this was the one show that we had watched a little bit of, and we covered a little bit of it, and like it was good, but it felt very kiddish. It was aimed at kids, and I get that you're trying to get kids, new generation of things, and I get that. But after watching Rebels, maybe I should go back and give this a chance, because I can honestly say the first 2 seasons of Rebels felt a little kind of like that to me. After the season finale of season 2, though, it takes a totally different direction. It goes a totally different way, and it's wow. We're going to talk about that once again.
It's like you felt like there was just like this little evolution of the series. I mean, and that's the you had the first half where it's kind of like the infant stage, where you're getting there, and then finally it takes a turn, and it's like, okay, now we're going to actually go into our story and just follow that. So it was really cool, and plus the fact that it has a lot of the Voyager vibe to it. That's probably one of the things that really like got my attention.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'll check it out. Roger. So this was the season 2?
No, season 1. It was actually just
into season 1?
Second half of season 1.
Okay, I got you. That's why we stopped watching it. Just took a break and we just never picked it back up. Okay. All right, cool. Well, is there anything else you watched? Or do we want to talk about the stuff that I know we've watched on the shows this week that I know we're dying to talk about one of these?
I say we just go ahead and jump into it.
I did watch The Recruit on Netflix, and it was pretty good. If you guys haven't watched it, it's pretty good. It's like it's a soft version of like Jack Ryan.
Okay.
So give it a shot.
Nathan says he's been watching DuckTales from 2017 with his son, and it rules. I have no doubt that DuckTales rules. To be honest with you, I haven't watched it, but I have no doubt that it rules.
I don't know where they're at with all that stuff as far as the bringing the old animation new again. I haven't watched any of that stuff.
I haven't watched any new stuff either. So I know they're redoing a lot of that. But, all right, well, let's hop into it. Let's just go ahead and knock Willow out.
What is your guys' problem with Willow?
Look, I don't have a problem with Willow. I don't hate Willow.
I'm joking. It sucks. It's not that good.
I don't hate Willow.
But the thing about it is, you have a good episode, and then it just totally goes off the rails in the next one because you're like, what am I? What?
I'll tell you a couple problems right off the bat with the entire show.
The script is weird.
The entire show. The script is weird. The comedy is not well placed, and really like the comedy is not in there, and the music, while good music, is not music for that scene. Like when I'm watching that scene, that's not the music I'm thinking of, or like the music putting me into this scene. They did a bad job. Like I said, not bad songs, just a bad job lining up the music with the actual, like what they're going to do. It's just, I'm like, nope, this takes me out of it. So those are 2 bad things for me.
Not only just those things. I mean, like it's just the whole. You start digging deeper into like the set building, the cinematography, like all of that stuff that goes into this show, and you're just like you're left wanting hardcore. This last episode, it was. We can talk about the basics or the details in a minute, but they're essentially surfing on a carriage over a sea, right? And it's so funny how they find little bits of land whenever they need to like rest at night or train and like all this other stuff. I'm like, how much are we talking? Like 99% fantasy, and the only fact of like piece of reality is the fact that they're breeding humans. I mean, I don't know what else is supposed to be real in this right now.
I mean, I get it's supposed to be fantastical, but it does have it's like, come on, like the angst in this is another thing. I'd say it's the third thing for me. It's so terrible. Like you think you've gotten over it after a certain point in time, like you feel like you've gotten past it, like finally, and then it comes back and it's like, come on, y'all, what the hell is going on? Like for real, obviously both of you know that this has got to happen. So just suck it up and do it. Like it makes me so mad with the angst of some of these characters. Go ahead, Sarah. Throw a punch.
No, I mean, like I said, it's
there was. It's been tough. It's been tough to watch. It's another thing where there was a big gap between the movie and now the series. I'm still trying to figure out why the series, but okay, well, it's there. We'll have it's some entertainment, something we can enjoy. This little girl that's Laura Dannon. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I don't like her less or Kit less. I can't quite figure it out.
Oh, but they're BFFs. Come on.
Well, it's God Almighty. I'm like, they might as well just put CW on this. I'm like, is this like the fantastical world of Stargirl? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's insane. That reminds me of another thing we need to talk about. We can mention after we talk about this because it's just. But anyways, this last episode, no, not this one, but the one before it, when I sent you guys a message, I said, "What in the hell is this Skellen shit?" Because were those trolls? Or were they like Valley Girls? I mean, what was going on here?
Okay.
They were articulate trolls.
Yeah. With that
Anywho, what was that? Oh my God. I think the only thing I liked out of the episode was the fact of, because Brian was actually watching he was over there looking at TikTok. I was like, you gotta watch this. So one of the cages over here, I hear this voice and I'm like, okay, now you have my interest because I know it's got to be at least interesting now. So, which I knew he was going to be in. It seems like I saw his name in it, and that would be our friend Christian Slater. So anything Christian Slater, I'm like, I still like watching.
God, Sarah, what are you? 94?
Yes, I am.
80s
and 90s. That's my.
Well, it's little things like that I'm talking about, like the trolls. Like, I get it. Okay, fine. The trolls don't have the voice that you would expect them to have. They have a somewhat funny voice for how they look, but that just takes me out of it. Like, you're trying to get me to take this seriously, and you're trying to make it funny at the same time, and it just doesn't work, Which it's just like even before the episode before that, because we're going back a few weeks, and we're just hitting points. Like, they talk about going to this forest, and like how there've been talks about people that go into this forest and they have these thoughts of like love and desire, and they never want to come out and this and that. And I'm like, okay, cool. I see where they're going. It's kind of like a song of a heron, I guess, or whatever type thing, or is that what it is? Whatever. They're but they go in there, and then that's never ever mentioned again. Nothing like that ever happens. Nobody talks about it. I'm like, what the hell is this about? Yeah, Tin Dizzy and it says what's up to us. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Willow.
Hey, Tin.
And all the
sorry,
all the downfalls.
Sorry,
for
we're
this
talking
show.
about Willow.
Yeah, all the downfalls for this show. Okay, so the cave part you're talking about, where with the trolls and they're getting out of there, like, it makes me so upset that like they're going to escape this, and it's like lava. They're gonna walk across, right? So we're gonna walk across this lava.
It's solid lava.
Solid lava, okay. With whatever underneath. We're gonna walk across this lava. But like,
so many more things to say.
As everything's crashing down and falling, this is the time the kid's like, let's have a fight right here. Let's have an argument right here. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? like honestly, she falls through the lava or whatever it is right there. I'd have been like, yeah, sorry, I told you we should have gone. Let's go. Like, later. I told you we should have gone. So
I came down here looking for my wand, because if that wasn't a plot point that no one else saw, what are we doing with our lives? I dropped my wand. You know what that means? At some point, they got to get to the very bottom so they can get that wand again.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. So Tin says he watched Prodigy and he loved it. We actually just got to talking about that. Yeah.
Told you. Told you a good one.
That second half makes that show, dude. Like, it's
okay.
I know that it's a kid's show, and I know that we're not kids, but I'm going to tell you right now, it ties it back into Star Trek. Oh, yeah, okay. It ties it back into Star Trek pretty good. So,
okay, I'll definitely check it out. But back to Bash and Willow, because I don't think that we have. Okay, well, first of all, let's just get this out of the way. Is there anything like we can all say is really good about the show?
At first I was going to say Borman, but I'm like,
I like Borman.
But
I like Borman.
Come on, man. I mean,
she's starting to get on my nerves.
Yes.
He's starting to get on my nerves.
Starting to wear, like, everybody's starting to wear off on him.
Because the show's not doing anything different. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, I want to love Willow himself, but I'm like, God, you are an asshole.
He's one of the most annoying characters. And you know what's so funny?
He says the most snarkiest shit. I'm like, really, dude?
At the end of this episode, it's so funny. Like, you've been pushing all these people so hard, so far, for so long. Talking about, oh, you need to sacrifice for the best of this and that, blah, blah. And the first time he gets to, like, a vision of his daughter, he's like, I gotta go.
I want to go home. I want to go home.
It's like, what? It's like, wait a second, dude. Like, the only reason everybody here is because of you. Like, what are you talking about?
And what about the magic flute?
Yes, the magic flute. I wrote that down.
I told you there's something up with that dude. There was something up with that guy. He like pops out a magic flute and poofs somebody. I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw it, I was like, what the fuck? What's in his hands? What is it doing?
But he's got his own color, so it's not the same color. Yeah. So mostly a different type of magic.
All right. He was possessed.
Jade being a bone reaver, she's got a whole clan of people with her too. Dude, there's so much in the show that's just happening. It's just coming at you like at all different angles, and you just have no idea why it's coming at you.
Mm-hmm. This show is okay to have a gap in it, but what you give after the gap has to be phenomenal. And the problem is, like I said before, this wants to be a really big universe. But to give me that really big universe, I need to see like something that happened in between this time. Like I need to know some knowledge. Like make me love this universe, and then I'm interested to see what happens to this universe in the future. Right now, I don't know enough about this universe to love it or care what happens to it.
This series is 100% Disney-fied. This is why Disney-fied or Disney has a connotation to it. It's stuff like this right here. So, yes.
I mean, you're walking on fire, you're walking on water, but yet you hit. Now, the little muck lizard or whatever he was, he was so cute.
It was kind of cute. I wanted to pet it.
So cute. I was like,
it reminded me of like the live action thing from Arcane.
Yeah.
The little thing that they were feeding all that stuff.
Kind of, yeah. Hey, so question: When did Laura become a redhead?
Did they just
do that in an episode for no reason? Just change it and not say anything?
If you noticed, it was probably like maybe.
It was 3 episodes ago.
Was it 8? Yeah, like a couple episodes ago. You notice when she's actually started doing magic or whatnot. I started noticing there was like this color. Like I said, they were pulling a rogue on her. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm like, okay, well.
I like
then you notice it was more. And now since she's all powerful, it's all colored.
Okay.
Dude, she's losing her soul. They are literally giving you a physical representation of that. Turn her into a ginger.
I don't know what the hell they're doing. It's just a...
Yeah. I was like, wait a second, where's he going with this? Oh, yeah, okay, I get it now. It's okay, though. It looks better. Yeah, I think. But what do we think about her brother, Eric, and this whole story? Like, first of all, I think it's funny that he's like, I don't know why it's that color or why it smells that way, but I just drank it.
I'm going to drink it.
It's the water. Just drinking. It's like, what? No, okay, I'm good. Sorry, man. I'm good.
That's that snake juice, son. Get up on that.
So
I don't know. It looked viscous just by it swirling around in there, and that alone would have been me not being a part of it.
But what was that stuff that the trolls were like squeezing out or whatever? I'm like, was it that? Because they're like, oh, this is evil. I'm like, what? What was that shit?
Let's just say episode 8 has a lot of lifting to do.
Yeah. Well, they don't give you much story with this brother Eric thing, except for the few short scenes you see him, and I guess we know that now he's
going on in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in the chat either. I have no idea. Seeing all kinds of stuff. But they give you this story with him, and I guess now we know he's in this Immemorial City, which is weird. So we know he's in there. He's drinking this orange goop, which is coming out just like water as soon as he puts his hands in it. And he's met this woman there, which is this woman right here is just like Kat. She's pissing me off like the whole time. She's doing, well, I'm not going to make out with you and love. And like, he's not by any means at all doing anything to hit on you or come onto you, act like you're going to be served. Well, you act like you're because I'm Prince. No, he just said that he was Prince. Like, it was so irritating. Like, this woman made me so mad. And of course you see now that, there's more to her than we knew before. But Man, right off the bat, I couldn't stand this character. Could not stand her.
Do you know who she was?
No. Is she?
You just watched Game of Thrones. Do you know who she was?
Oh no, I didn't pay that much attention.
She was one of the Sand Sisters. 3 girls from Dorne. The prettiest girl in the world.
Oh, I got you with the poisonous kisses and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. The Viper sisters.
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
That was basically the same character in Willow.
Yeah. I mean, let's just say in Game of Thrones, she played a lot better of a role. Of course, then again, I think anyone in this show probably played a better role anywhere else that they've acted, period.
But I think the problem with this is everything is just so, there's no depth to it at all. I mean, I think they're trying for depth. I'm just not feeling it. It's like, mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know. And the last 3 episodes, I just had to sit back and just laugh. Like I said, Brian would sit over. I'm like, did you hear that? Did you sit? He's like, I'm not even paying attention to shit. I don't even know what's going on. I said, you're not missing anything.
It feels like they just shot the whole show in the volume and they had no reason to go out of their way to do anything. And I feel like they just kept the training wheels on the whole entire time. And after episode 8, I'm probably not going to have anything to do with it ever again.
So. I mean, there would be plenty of opportunities. They could go dark. I mean, they could just go crazy with it. But it was like, oh, we'll just scratch the surface on this and just move on. And just throw
even Willow seems like a punk. I mean,
that's what I'm saying, because I'm like,
I'm tired of him crying.
I would have thought that if at least, shit, the damn brownie had more depth than some of these guys.
And the brownie's daughter.
Exactly. She's like, the way we're feeling, we're like, oh my God.
Yep. Yes.
So here's the question I have for this show too: is that Willow knows the fate of Allura, right? And she knows that she's going to go there. She's going to die. I don't know. They don't know to tell you if she's victorious or not. They just know she's going to die. Why are you going on this trip? Like, if you know what's going to happen,
he was to change the outcome. Did you not pay attention? Exactly.
But he admits that he's a fake and a phony. I think he calls himself that in this.
Yes, exactly.
Why go on this trip? I don't know.
Well, if you pay attention, everything that he said that he's going to do, he doesn't do. So, besides actually leaving, because I think that he said in the Willow movie that he was never going anywhere at the very end of that movie at some point. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's true. Yeah. It's a few weeks ago, but I can't even remember that. But all right. So I guess the last thing we can wrap up Willow with is at the end, Allura and Kat get to in the city, and they see the brother, and he's all garbed up in some armor with some kind of awesome looking hilt on his back. I don't know what it's to, but it looks like a badass hilt from what I can see. Where are we going with the show? Any ideas? Any thoughts? We got 2 episodes left?
I really wish Kat had just gone down that whatever it was and follow her voice. Just follow Mad Mardigan's voice and just be done with it.
Yep.
I'm more interested in what's going on back there than what's actually going on there.
That was more interesting. I'll give you that.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, is she gonna go in here? Or are they gonna do? No. I mean, I wasn't exactly wanting to see Mad Mardigan, but at least they could have at least done a little bit more with it. But it was just like, oh, we hear the faint voice. Oh, Toby's gonna follow my father. I wish she had just pushed her. Her. Yeah. I think the most satisfying part was when they fell off the waterfall. But I was like, I know they were going to survive.
Well, let me ask you, whenever going back a couple scenes or a couple episodes, when they did reveal the Christian Slater thing, I know we like the Christian Slater casting. When they first said he's Mad Mardigan, did you believe it for a minute? Because I was like, oh man, they just recast the character. I was like, well, I guess that's what you got to do. But interesting choice. Because I wasn't sure at the beginning. Okay. All right, well, 1 episode left. That was the penultimate, I guess. That was supposed to be the big build up to the finale.
I'm still gonna watch it because I do want to find out what the deal is with Eric. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there is just a little bit because I'm like, let's see how much further they can go off the rails.
Oh, dude, let's just say next week, no holds barred. This piece of trash right here should never be on TV ever again.
Go Greg Shield on it. I know. All right, well, let's wrap up Willow this week then. Let's move on to the next show, Doom Patrol. We got 3 weeks of Doom Patrol, and man, this is another show that's completely off the rails, but I've made peace with this show being off the rails. I expected it to be off the rails. I still like the story of this show, and I can follow it because I've gone into it knowing it's off the fucking rails. So, Ross, I think you're the biggest fan of Doom Patrol here. Get us started, man.
Dude, the first few episodes of the show pretty much led you in a, I don't want to say directionless. I mean, they definitely were adding in little bits and pieces in the subplots to just get you invested, I guess, because it is tough. It's tough after you do so much crazy stuff to figure out where you're going to start and where you're going to end. And at some point, you have to realize that Doom Patrol is essentially not a group of people as much as it's just a bunch of individuals off trying to figure out their own shit. I've said it countless times. That's all they're trying to do. All these people are so messed up, and all they're trying to do is just figure out their own stuff. I can relate. I'm with them. I love this show. I'm all about it. The little bits that they go through are so much crazier than my own life that it makes my life feel normal, so I'm good with that. We started with, we had Casey Patrol, Youth Patrol, and then, oh man, what was this last one called? Hope Patrol. And there was the little bits and pieces that you get. The whole point of this mid-season finale that we just got, because this was the mid-season finale, is that this whole Mortis character is coming to rise. And I guess, what they're trying to do is create a different or i.e. better world than the one that currently exists. And so it definitely feels like what they're actually, to me, watching it was like a metaphor for the Titans episode, because Titans is trying to do with Brother Blood what Doom Patrol is trying to do with this whole Mortis arc.
Yes.
And it felt very much like, there was very symbiotic scissoring going on with that. So it's funny how now we're at a point where everyone has lost their longevity. It seems to be what the Immortus crew has been trying to harvest. And think about how we've got all of it taken away, because Jane is still hooking up with the fog. I didn't know that's what that was the first time around, when she was doing the whole thing on the bed and whatnot. I didn't realize that's what it was, but now they pieced it together. Next, it was they took Jane's because of the baby. Bunbury, is that the rabbit's name?
Brimberry or something like that? Yeah.
I can't whatever.
It's not
the
Knights
Templar.
Yeah.
So they were going to take the longevity to essentially save it and, to protect against the rise of Immortus. And that went all to shit apparently off scene, because Willoughby came back and he looked like he got his ass handed to him. He looked like the dude from Scarecrow in Titans, all sliced up.
Yes, very similar. I agree. It makes you wonder if when they were writing these shows, they're like, hey, we got almost the exact same story going here. Let's split them up.
Well, I will say
mid-season,
I took offense to Jane totally freaking out having gray hair. I took offense to that. Like you,
seriously,
wench.
Can I be honest?
It's not gray; it's silver. Thank you.
It's an accent color. Biatch.
I like Jane the character, but I'm just getting a little tired of seeing her go down to the wherever it is she goes, the train station,
the
underground,
and just yelling at everybody. And it's like, okay, I get it. You don't like anybody down there.
I know.
I don't know. I can totally relate with her mentality when she goes down there, because she's just fuck everybody, smoke them if you got them, just going ape shit. I love that character. Her fuck necklace and everything. I mean, every bit of it is perfect, just the way that she is. It's so insane that it plays for great TV for me. Just in she stays in her lane almost the whole entire time, and when she gets out of it, she's gonna circle right back to it super hard,
right.
And it's perfect.
What is with Cliff and the oven mitt?
So let's talk about that for a moment. Let's have The first time he did it, I'm like, is he a ventriloquist now? Is he playing with himself? Is that what's happening?
Is it Elmo?
Yeah, it's not any of those things. Apparently he's just batshit crazy. So he's totally losing it to a point to where he's got that phrase. Oh my god, what did he say?
For fuck's sake.
Well, yeah. No, my special hand is for loving only. I was just like, it only gets better. I mean, like, they're writing this character so well every single time that he comes to the screen. Let's see, we had Rita and Madame Rouge, not that crazy of a thing, when they threw down that little youth spell or whatever it was, but it was, you got a real in-depth conversation between Cyborg and Jane, sitting there, and she's like, I'm high as fuck. I was sitting there by that pool. And it was a real good moment between the two of them. That's what was really sad. Because it just went away.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's funny about this show is they did that in between episodes. Like you said, you had the fight with Brimbury or whatever his name is, and the wizards, and they took the longevity. And then you also had that they all had the youth spell put on them, and then they all just, grew back up. Like the spell was taken off and they grew back up. Because the show ended with their longevity being taken. You never saw them all actually get back older again, did you? Or did I just miss that?
We didn't see them grow back up, but their longevity wasn't taken. Not everybody's. Like it was each taken at specific points that you did see. Like Jane's was taken by Bunbury, the magical rabbit.
Right, but that was what broke the youth spell was whenever the rabbit came and took the longevity, then they broke the youth spell for everybody because she was a baby at that point, right? And then after they grew up,
is that what broke it?
I think that was the deal. Like he came to break that and take the longevity. I think that was what happened. But I don't know.
There's just there's so many great dialogue moments in this whole entire show, and I love all of them. I love all of them. They sit there and pick on whose virginity were they picking on? I know that Willoughby didn't. Like they were saying that. They're saying like, how can your V seal grow back? Like how can that happen? And the dickhead, clithead, like all the jokes that go on in this show are so damn hilarious. I think that you just can't stop. Like it is literally nonstop with this show, and that's what I love about it. The writing is so good.
Well, and we didn't even talk about yet the episode before that with the Captain Case and what's his name?
Casey,
daughter,
Dorothy,
his daughter, and they were in the city. I can't remember the city's name for some reason for the life of me. But Danny, right? Danny City. Yeah, that was a whole episode for this too. Like that almost seemed like a filler episode for the whole episode until the very end.
Yeah, it's that crawlback episode.
It gave you that at the very end, like, okay, this is what this has to do with the whole story. Was just getting that necklace back. So, and that was a good episode. It was interesting to see them bring the character straight out of the comics, and I'm interested to see. I guess this ties back into the episode with Rita and Madame Rouge today. Is the guy who's doing the drawing that is drawing the comic book? That's the one that Rita squished in the cell today, right?
Yeah, Wally.
Yeah, Wally. Isn't that him?
So it seemed to be. I think that the whole play on that is to, that's clearly going to be some weird figure eight interconnected time traveling shit. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they tie this together. But I don't expect a lot of logic to come out of this explanation for this show. I mean, we did just see at the end of the show ass escape, eating ass escape out of a.
That was the zombie.
So
that was the zombie.
That was the one that survived, right? Because Cliff didn't close the freezer because he didn't kill it when he should have. Yeah, that was the one that survived. So that's him playing into what the future is going to be because they think they've stopped the zombie apocalypse, but now they've actually created the zombie apocalypse. So it's self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what that is. So.
The catch-22. Like, how does it work if it never worked?
Yeah, this show's crazy, man. I do think that the interaction between Cliff Steele and Jane is the best of the show. We did get some good interaction with Cyborg and his buddy, from the past.
Derek, what do they call themselves? The
Detroiticons. Yeah. So, Ross, I would hope that if I was over in that situation, you would change my diaper, and I would never look at you differently for doing it. So,
I would never let y'all live it down.
Wow.
Definitely never let them live it down. But
that's a bonding experience, right?
That's some old different shit. That's what that is
right there. That's what that is. I do like how they figured out they were in that world. They drew their what was the name of the robot? I can't remember. Which is a really rudimentary looking robot.
Mr. Invincible. I think is what it was.
Something like that. And then it goes to do its final thing, and it just in the paper. Yep. So.
And the one thing Cliff did say what about this? Because when I saw the scissor people, I'm like, if there is not some Burton or Scissorhands alliteration at some point in hand, and I'm just gonna disown them all. And Cliff did not disappoint. He's like, what kind of Burton bullshit is this or something? I don't know what he said. Because when I first saw that, I'm like, really? I'd rather see the butts because I think that's more believable. Because this is like putties walking around with freaking scissors on their hands. I mean, not just like cold scissors. I mean, like, shit you find in elementary school.
That's the first clip of 23 right there. Sarah saying, "I'd rather see the butts."
I know. I'm like, oh my god, not putties with scissors.
So Cody's in the chat room right now, and he's asking, "Are we talking about changing each other's diapers?" No, it kind of wraps back in. I mean, yes, we are. But it wraps back into
in a Benjamin Button kind of way.
Yeah,
not like I'm getting old kind of way.
Ross is such a good friend that if I ever came to him and I was de-aging to a point,
phrasing, bro, phrasing.
Same too. And I was
shut up on his doorstep. How about that?
There you go.
Changed my diaper. I wouldn't look differently at him after that. And I would appreciate it. So, yeah. But Doom Patrol, good stuff. Love Doom Patrol. Is there anything else you want to say about it?
All I gotta say is screw these mid-season breaks. Like, look,
I
didn't know that this whole Star Trek Prodigy thing was gonna be like a one part or one season with a breakup thing in between. I had no idea, but I'm telling you right now, knowing it going into these DC shows, maybe they're just trying to stretch out their lifelines that they have left with the DC universe, but I don't want it. Just give me the season. If you're gonna cancel it. Like, I don't need to be strung along.
But the bad thing about it with Prodigy is literally I forgot about it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like but another thing too, it really wasn't. There was really no marketing behind it either. It was kind of like you just come across it or whatnot, or I mean, hell, at least on Twitter you'd see something about Lower Decks or something along those lines. You don't really see anything about Prodigy unless you're pull
it's
up
probably
the
not in
app.
your circle either.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know. And that's the one thing. It's like I've got to be reminded. Otherwise, I just forget about shit because I'm old. That's the reason why.
Headline Sarah wants to see
it's like a circle.
Zombie butts. It's not just butts. Zombie butts.
Zombie eating asses. That's right. Asses that eat. I shouldn't say eating asses. I should say asses that eat. That's not being better. I don't know what I'm saying. But I'm looking down, not to sleep, Nathan. I'm writing stuff. Anyway, all right, is there anything else you want to say about Doom Patrol? Because those are really the shows and the news we have to talk about. I mean, there's one big topic that I want to talk about this week that
there's another show that I watched, and I think Ross watched it as well, and it was the National Treasure one.
You were talking about that. Yeah, hit me up with that.
I think the way I described it, I'm gonna go back to my 90s references here. If you ever watch the OC, even my husband's watching this. He's like, they're OCing the shit out of this because you've got kids are basically early 20s, maybe 20, 21, if that much. And it's along the lines of obviously National Treasure, that series, which I mean, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong, but man, like the relationships and stuff with all the back and forth and plus it's our friend Henry from Stargirl as well, because when I first saw that guy, I'm like, where do I know him from? And then I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh, that's why, because he's got a face that's unforgettable. So I'm thinking, but it was interesting, especially in the last episode when they really dropped some names. So I was like, okay, well, we're kind of getting things together here. It's kind of coming together. But they had an Elvis episode, which was really fun. We love Elvis. But I like it because I like the puzzles. I like the history. I like, that kind of thing. So yeah,
that's what I started watching this show to get back into it. I mean, that it's a guilty pleasure. The National Treasure movies, period, are just
absolutely
fun. I mean, you throw Nick Cage in there on top of it. I mean, it's even better. There's just something about his mannerisms that play to those movies so well. The problem is that he's not in the show. And I know that
they want to pull them in. Like I said, they're name dropping, and they do have, and they are pulling in characters from the movie, which that helps a lot too, to kind of keep it in that little world, because it basically, this is happening like real time. So a lot of the like FBI agents that were involved in the events of National Treasure, as far as like with the declaration, that kind of thing. So I'm like, that's cool, because you're kind of like, oh yeah, man. But I'm loving Catherine Zeta-Jones. I'm like, I love her as a baddie.
Me too.
But I don't think. But I'm like, yes. But that's what I aspire. I'm like, oh my God, can I just be like her?
And she's doing so much too. I mean, she did Wednesday. She's doing this. I mean, she just came out of nowhere with like all this stuff coming out.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh, but anyways, fangirl over her later. But anyways.
Actors do that. They make those pushes, where you see them in everything for a little while.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's a fun show. I mean, there are definitely bits of it that go down the CW-ish route, the OC-ish route, but
the cool thing about it too is like the way they do the puzzles, the way she thinks and looks at things. It's the same way that Cage looked at that. So I'm like, I'm glad they're at least keeping that aspect of it. Yeah. So she's.
And it's funny because you can describe it like that, and that sounds good. But if you mention the fact of what's the meme with the guy from Hangover, where all the math equations are like going on around him, because then that dumbs it down a little bit. But no, it is really good. The montages, the little bits, the way they do all the hints and treasures. I mean, it's enough for you to catch on the first time whenever you actually see it. But
what's it on?
Even then, it's on Disney.
Disney Plus.
Disney. Right.
They own it.
I've learned to start going into things on Disney Plus with a little bit different mindset than I do with anything else. It kind of doesn't disappoint me as much. So,
did either of you go into the Bad Batch? Oh, one did.
Was there new Bad Batch stuff?
The Bad Batch just started back up.
Oh, I didn't know.
They've already dropped 2 episodes.
I told you, man, I've been out of it. I've been totally out of it. No, I haven't.
Bad
Batch stuff.
Yesterday?
I was wondering why they were suggesting that for me.
Yeah.
Not
a rewatch.
I was like, okay, I've watched it, but I know I haven't hopped into it yet.
Yeah, we got 2 episodes. Simple. Count Dooku is not present, but Count Dooku is heavily spoken of. So
I like Dooku.
Give them a watch. We'll catch up. We got it going for, I think there's supposed to be 16 episodes, I think is what it said.
So they're like, 20, 25 minutes, something like that. So they're like super short.
It goes until the 29th of March. So we have it for a little while.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll definitely, I'll give those a watch this week. We'll put it on the show docket for next week because it's definitely something I want to cover. Yeah.
But Star Wars.
Speaking of Star Wars and animation, yes, Greg finally finished watching Rebels. That's been my goal for this little downtime that I've had, and it has been absolutely fantastic. I'm really pissed off at Star Wars and their writing crew and their decision making and everybody's in those realms right now, because this is better than anything I got with the prequels. Not the prequels, excuse me, the sequels. I did like Force Awakens. That was a good movie. But I would trade that in any day of the week, anytime, hands down, to see this story live action. And not just the full story. Seasons 2, from the season 2 finale on. Like, I'm not going to lie, the first 2 seasons are a little more rough to get into because it is more childish. It's a younger Ezra. It's Kanan and Hera and all these characters, Sabine growing up. Like, it's the very, very beginnings of this rebellion, you know? As it gets more into it, it's fantastic. And like after season 2, the finale in season 2 especially, like it's just amazing the rest of the way out. And I even went into, I could have watched the last 3 episodes anytime over like the last week, but I've kind of spaced them out. And I watched the finale about an hour before we did the show today because I wanted to save it. So it was fresh in my mind and I knew it was going to be good. And I even knew it was going to happen. And it was so good that it's still like tear jerking. It's still like so emotional, like tugs at my heart, like so well written. And now that I know where this ends, because there were things that I knew how it ended, but I didn't know everything about how everything happened. Now that I've seen the whole thing, I can't effing wait to see the Ahsoka Tano series. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this. So good. It's gonna be so freaking good. Like, it's great. And like, and maybe we're gonna get some live action characters that I wasn't expecting, and it's gonna be really, really fun to see. I am thankful for y'all pushing me to watch this. I'm sorry it took me so long, but holy crap. I had to re-rank my Star Wars series after this, and I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look at the rankings. This one's up there. Like it's near top 5, like of all Star Wars properties. Like it's up there. There's a lot of Star Wars properties. So thank y'all. This is amazing. I loved Rebels. It was absolutely fantastic. Such a great story. Y'all give me some thoughts. I know y'all didn't rewatch it, but I know y'all know about it. So.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we actually saw Ahsoka in was Mandalorian when she was like, "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" And I'm like, "Whoop, whoop, what? Hello?" It's like you said it. So yeah, I'm like, yeah. So I'm really excited for the Ahsoka series too, because especially when they've got the casting of Ezra now, the casting of Hera and all this, it's starting to make a little bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And
all of the castings are the things that are really putting me right up there.
Yeah.
Hey, you can smack her. Turn your screen off. You can smack her.
Well, that one's going away. The other one's still over here.
It's so cool because like, okay, the last episode, you see just a growth in Ezra, and Ezra's tells Sabine, he's like, "I'm counting on you," and you don't know what that's about. Just like, "I'm counting on you," and like at the end, she talks about how she doesn't know what he's talking about until she sees Ahsoka, and it's like, "I'm counting on you," and then I'm like, okay. Last time I saw Ahsoka live action, she was looking for Thrawn. Guess what? Thrawn and Ezra are missing. Cool. So that means that I'm going to get a series about Sabine and Ezra Sabine and Ahsoka looking for Thrawn and Ezra. Fingers crossed. That would be freaking awesome. And that's the kind of stuff I love about Star Wars right there, man. That's the story behind the story that we get right there that I absolutely love.
All right. Side tangent real fast. Mm-hmm. In the realm of theories and things that people discuss that haven't actually come out yet, there is a show code named Ghost Track 17. And now that you watch the show, the ghost is one, a ship. Mm-hmm. If you know anything about aviation, a track is the route that it flies. And 17 holds no numerical value whatsoever that I care about. But I am putting it together in my head, my own personal headcanon, that I would love to see something that they're putting together, since they have all these characters. They have been attaching names to these characters live action wise slowly and methodically. And that tells me that there's something there more than just the Ahsoka show, because you can have them dip in and talk to and talk and be a part of the Ahsoka show. You can do any sort of flashbacks or whatever you want to call it if you do it, even with CG or mocap or whatever you want. But I feel like they're doing something else here, and I'm really enjoying living in that moment where I don't know what it is yet, but I am truly hoping that they are going to bring the Rebels hardcore, not in the same light that they were in animation, but in a manner that is in live action tastefully. I'm hoping for it, because to me, the only thing that held Rebels back was its release schedule. That was it. When you watch that shit live, dude, it was a pain in the butt. You never knew when it was going to come out. You never knew when they were taking breaks or why they were doing what they were doing. That was it. That was the only problem that I had with that show. I can look past all of the other flaws that it had in it. The release schedule was the bar none the top problem with that show. And you got to just binge the whole entire thing.
Right. Just like with Game of Thrones. Are shows a better experience like that? Like
Some
it's
are.
hard to say. I mean, because it feels like the stuff that I'm catching up on that a lot of people haven't seen. I just it's great to watch the whole thing right then and there. You know,
My argument has always been that some shows definitely lend it. Look, Willow would probably be a ton better if you could just watch the whole thing like Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan would probably be a lot better if you had to binge it, or you couldn't binge it and you had to watch it week to week to week, because it would draw it out. It would give you that anticipation. Some shows deserve that anticipation. They've earned it.
right.
Other shows, way have not earned it. Netflix is one of those types of streaming services that puts out stuff so fast that their stuff doesn't really earn it.
Right.
You know, I'll use it time and time again, but Arcane was one of the biggest things that it came out in like 3 groupings. And it did that. And to me, that was very odd for Netflix to do, because Netflix isn't like a week to week or any sort of like, other than it's dumped here and now, just watch the whole thing. So when you have all these other, like Disney coming out with all these things week to week, why? Like, what deserves it and what doesn't? You know, I'm bigger on the Marvel shows than probably either one of you, but I love the fact that they come out week to week. I like the anticipation of watching them week to week, mainly because I don't want them to be over so fast. Same thing for like Jack Ryan on Prime. I don't want it to be over so fast.
Right.
Now, we also watched Peripheral on Prime. I should have just binged that whole entire thing. I probably would have had a better understanding of the actual show if I just binged the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, I get it.
There is no definitive line that you can draw here. There is no like all-encompassing model that would take place for any of this stuff. So,
right.
Some shows, yes, some shows are better deserving. Watching Rebels, absolutely, because they foobarred the living heck out of it.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't have to go through that scheduling like conundrum whenever I was going through, because like I said, being able to just watch it all together was great. This was a series that I was actually upset when I had to watch the last episode today. Not about just because like I was like, damn, I'm not going to get any more of this until I saw the very end, and I was like, saw how it ended. I was like, oh, I am going to get more of this, just maybe in a different story. Like, it's crazy. They talk about the end of it. She talks about how I love how Sabine's telling the storyline. She talks about how Rex and Harrow are both in the Battle of Endor, and this kind of stuff. That's cool to hear about. I was the character I have the most question about what they're going to do live action or bring him in if it does is Zeb. Like, what do you do with that? And he was the character that of all of them that I was like, like I like Zeb, but at the same time, like he if he's not there, it's no big deal. They gave him a good ending. Rook was a character that from the books reading Thrawn that I knew about, but I didn't know what he looked like. And I always wondered in my mind, like what I kind of pictured him look like. It was kind of similar to what I got on the screen based on the description in the book. But I liked him; he was a good character, and I liked the way that he was taken care of.
Did you read the old Thrawn books?
Yes,
the original trilogy Thrawn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say because I didn't read the new ones. But yeah, seeing him in live action kind of caught me off guard, and I mean, I don't want to say I was displeased by any means, but I was definitely not expecting it when they put him on the screen, because he was casted to be like a badass, like the badass is really what he was.
Yeah.
So the little bits and pieces, like it's on my brain. I got to talk about it real fast. You keep mentioning the last episode. It is almost an artistic scene, like when you have everybody there in the end, like when you get that years after scene where like Sabine looks different and Ahsoka looks different and everyone looks different. That's something that I want like as a piece of artwork, like to put on the wall, because the show, it did take a minute to get its traction, but when it did, like it was really, really good, like you're saying, and those last 2 seasons were really fantastic. Now it went in such strange directions. We started the show off, Loth cats are now a humongous thing thanks to Filoni. He loves his Loth cats. But you went from long hair Ezra, kid punk who was running around trying to figure out basically, what he was doing with his life, to turn around and have I can't remember the name of the episode now. What was the one where he was traveling through space?
The World Between Worlds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you talk about creating canon, just in such a beautiful 3D animating kind of way.
Well, actually, funny you mentioned that specific episode because I was talking to Nathan about this the other day, and he didn't like the way they handled the World Between Worlds thing. And I kind of get what he's saying with some of it. It didn't bother me, and it was an interesting way to do it. And I guess you got to tell a story somehow, but he was talking about how what's his name, Ezra pulls Ahsoka out of that fight with Vader, but you clearly see her leaving the fight at the end of season 2. So it's now we're messing with
time
paradox.
Yeah.
Like we didn't need to have that in there. And I told him the only reason that was in there was because she was basically the one that told him he was there to learn the last lesson he needed to learn. But he could have gotten Kanan back right then, and he didn't. And the lesson was to let go, to learn the right time to let go. And that was the whole lesson, because he pulled Ahsoka out when he shouldn't have. He could have gotten Kanan. He didn't, and that was the lesson, was to learn to let go at the right time, and so that was and he was like, yeah, I get that, but he just didn't like the way it did, and I get that too. But I mean, it was well handled, I suppose. It was. I don't think the way they did the Emperor being in there was very well handled, because the Emperor being in that little realm and being able to actually interact with them and then never mentioning anything about that again was like, well, okay. That's interesting.
It almost tiptoes around door opening to, potential problems or stuff in the future, but it also gives a very, I don't want to say it gives an out. That's not the word I'm looking for. It gives the possibility of ways to tell different stories in the future. And Rebels is something that I don't no one asked for. And you get Chopper. Let's talk about droids real fast. You get Chopper, you get Sabine, you get Ezra, take him or leave him for his faults. But, the characters that you walk away with are decent. And if you can take some of these things that they do with canon, not to heart, but just to open up your mind and let them experiment a little bit, it's still better than what they did with Palpatine in the sequels. So why not?
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to think. I know I told y'all I knew the way it ended, and it still kind of got me, watching it, because I knew how, but not the how of seeing it actually happen. I did not know about spoilers about Kanan dying. So that one caught me by surprise, but I was like, wow, okay. And honestly, from that episode on, I think that's there's 3 or 4 episodes left after that. Man, that right there is a movie. From that episode on is a movie. Just the emotional pull they have and everything, everything they're going, the entire series is built up to this moment right here. And it's so Star Wars, this is so much better than any of the sequels.
And that's the thing about it too, because I'd love to see a live action Kanan, but I mean,
yeah.
Can we at least get a flashback?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see them mentioned, and because this is a huge part of this Star Wars story, a huge part of this rebellion story. None of this stuff, none of this Andor stuff, none of this, Rogue One stuff happens without this happening, and it's just a bigger part that I would much rather see than, space horses and, casinos.
Yeah, that's true.
But what about space whales, man? Pergolas.
Pergolas I can deal with. They set that up. So they set up pergolas 2 seasons ago, which 2 seasons ago they set that up.
Yes, they did.
And that was what I remember when it happened. I was like, I see what they're setting up right here, because I knew how it's going to end. And that's a cool thing. If you didn't know that going in, that would have been a complete shock and a total surprise. But it would have made total sense. You know,
like there's a lot of reasons why. I guess people give like accolades to Filoni for his storytelling. You can take with it what you can. He did introduce some very cool things, and he is, pretty much the apprentice to Lucas himself. But some of it's a little tough to digest. But who else is really doing it? We didn't get anything until like Jon Favreau really started making like Mandalorian, and he was given.
Stuff,
I don't want to say he was given like the keys to the kingdom, but he was given the right to start making things other than what we've had, and not too many people are given that right.
Right.
And I truly believe, it came off the coattails of Iron Man and his time working with Marvel that led him to and positioned him to be where he is, because I absolutely loved watching the behind the scenes stuff with him talking about everything with the Mandalorian and the way that he has worked with Filoni, the way that he has worked with Star Wars period, Lucasfilm. But if these two stupid geniuses come out and start making something absolutely crazy with the Rebels crew live action, I'm so down for it.
Yeah, I agree. Want to see Zeb live action? Want to see what that's about? How they do
and
that?
You know, Zeb thought he was the only one of his species, right? And then you turn around, and if you've ever played
there's the whole planet.
Jedi Fallen Order, like there was one of his species that was a Jedi. Like there was, Zeb was definitely the what do you want to call it, the token comedy, I guess, in the show. But
yeah, well, and he had a good storyline too. The what was the Imperial commander that ended up turning to be with the rebels?
Yeah.
And he was the first. He went under the name Fulcrum. But
to do with the chops.
Yeah, the chops.
Yes.
He was the one who ended up wiping out Zeb's planet. And that's why Zeb hated him so much. And then at the end of the episode, at the end of the last episode,
buddy cop movie, man.
Zeb takes him to Zeb takes him to the planet that his race moved to show him that he didn't kill his race. And I was like, okay, that's cool. It's full circle, bringing all the way around there. I like that. But yeah, I want to see some live action.
Callus, that's his name.
Callus, yeah.
Man, I was reaching for it.
Yeah, that's his name. That's right. But yeah, man, this is a fantastic show. It was such a great watch. I was genuinely upset that I don't get to watch any more Rebels, and I don't get any more of the story.
I hated the Disney XD commercials because I always had to watch it like on something on demand, using someone's like login or something like that. And it was just constantly, we'll be right back on Disney XD. I'm like, screw Disney. This stuff needs to be like on something fantastic, and you got to watch it on Disney Plus.
Just went straight to a break and then right back into the next thing. And I was like, all right.
I can't say. I know you guys are talking about having breaks between episodes and stuff. Look, growing up, that's all we had. We never had anything streaming. So I'm like, give it to me 100%. I have no patience anymore.
Well, I understand.
Me and Ashley were talking the other day because I'm going through rearranging bills and stuff, and like I got rid of cable. I got rid of my cable box. I saved like $170 on my cable bill, like getting rid of the cable and the cable boxes and everything. And I told Ashley, I was like, this is the end of an age though, because like there are some times where it's just like I remember being able to go on the television and hit the guide. This is after the digital guides, before like not like the old flip channel days where you had the previous channel. Like after you finally, everybody had a guide, you get it. There was just something about having a list of stuff that was already playing and just picking something that was already playing that was just easier. Just easier to see a lineup of stuff that's already on. I just hit it and it's on,
Then spend 3 hours surfing the Netflix home menu trying to figure out what's on.
It's hard sometimes. Me and Ashley get to order, looking through the menu screens. We go through a whole thing. We're like, we go to the next one, and then both of us for the next 10 minutes later looking at our phones, and it's just on the menu screen of whatever app we're looking at. I'm like, guys, it's difficult sometimes to figure out what you want to watch. Like, I want that to be made for me sometimes.
Do you know the term microtransaction?
I guess.
So from like video games and stuff like that, microtransactions come from my video games. So whenever like it's big in like kids, kids play Fortnite, prime example.
Okay.
The microtransactions are like you can buy the gun, you can buy the suit, you can buy the skin, you can buy the character, you can buy the pack, you can buy this, you can buy that. Anyway, it's all like little itty bitty transactions to where you can go and buy stuff, right? The same thing is there with you and the way that you consume content, and that's why it is like that's why shit like TikTok is so big, because it's micro content that you consume, but you don't realize that it stacks and you're consuming it for 2 hours at a time, but you only think you're doing like 15 seconds at a time.
Right.
That is what makes that difference. And that's why it hooks you in. Their whole point of keeping you there is trying to figure out how to keep you there longer. Now, yes, you are completely right. There used to be something about what is on and what can I watch? And then you get to choose that. You don't get to choose the commercials, but you get to choose what you watch. Now, with you streaming, I'm like, you just get to watch what you want to watch. That's the whole point of you paying for it directly. So I prefer the direct-to-consumption kind of method. However, you're right. There used to be something about like, these are your choices, pick one.
I think I'm going to do a month this year and see if Ashley's down for it, where we pick a network station to watch, or like a platform to watch on, and just whatever they suggest, we watch it. Whatever Netflix tells me to watch, I'm going to watch it. And then whatever it tells me to watch next, I'm going to watch that next. And then whatever they tell me to watch after that. And I'm just going to do that for, I don't know if I last a month, to be honest with you, but I'm going to do that for a little while and just see whatever they suggest. Man. It is dangerous, but it could be great.
You may want to go to Vegas and play the lottery at the same time.
Yeah, I hear you. Anyway, back to Rebels. I really don't have a lot more to say about it. I can't give it a full review because it's 4 seasons, but just and it's an older show, or just y'all didn't watch it, and I'm just giving y'all pointers on how much I loved the fact that.
What were your takeaways? Like, what were the things that stuck out with you? I mean, there had to be. I know we talked about some big ones, but
I love the connection with the Thrawn books. I love that, like in Thrawn books, a big thing about him was his art. Like him studying art, him being a big art thing, and it was big in this too, and that tied into the Sabine storyline too. I loved the stuff they had with the Mandalorians and the houses and the House of Bryn and Sabine getting her redemption back, and the dark saber and everything else. Yep. The Darksaber was a cool introduction to the story, and getting it to Bo-Katan was really cool. So like I love seeing
the whole group that actually had the what was that group? Death Watch. Death Watch being in the show. Do you understand now how Death Watch have an even more like presence in the Mandalorian? And that's why all of that stuff in those shows is really cool, because of all the groundwork that Rebels really laid. Because when you go back and dissect it, Rebels did a ton of work on all of this stuff. Clone Wars did too. Don't get me wrong. Clone Wars is fantastic.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, and it's cool because like I think Rebels is like the more untold stories, like the more like you really got to dive a little deeper into Star Wars to really want to know how this connects, but it's not difficult to connect the two. Like they run together very well. I'm trying to think. Thrawn's story was really good in this one. I liked him as a character in this. I like the way he's always a step ahead, and that's the way the character is in this. And there's so much more in the books that happens not in this storyline, like a lot of the book stuff in the Chimera is not even involved with a lot of stuff in Lothal. Like there's a lot of stuff in Lothal, but there's a lot of stuff that happens away from here, and they do a good job in the actual story in Rebels of him being away and like me being believable. Okay, this is believable that he's away doing this with the Chiss or whatever he's doing. He's away doing this, and he's coming back and then doing this stuff. So I'm interested to see where that storyline ends.
One person we didn't talk about. What did you think about Maul?
Oh gosh, they opened up his story like crazy in this series. Like, what a different character. Maul's a gray Jedi, or is a gray Jedi. Like that's what he is.
Kind of, yeah,
100%. Like he was a gray Jedi before Rey was ever a gray Jedi. Like he just didn't understand what he was.
What did you think about the culmination of the story? Let's start at the end and then work our way back a little bit.
What do you mean? What did I think about it? Like
when he died.
Oh, when Maul dies?
Yeah.
I actually didn't like that very much, just because like I get the point, but it felt like, and don't get me wrong, I think Obi-Wan would beat Maul, Like Obi-Wan did like one swing and took him out. Like there wasn't a fight. One swing and he was done. Like I get it. Obi-Wan's a badass, and I get it. Cool showing off as a badass, but like
Jesus.
It was just really, really weird. Like Maul's this amazing fighter, and he goes in at Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan takes one swing, kills him. I was like, okay, and it just makes you feel like
it was intentional.
Drunk with power,
Yeah,
like drunk, like kind of insane at this point, being driven insane.
I think the fight was kind of led in that position to where it's almost like he kind of, I don't want to say he gave up, but like he knew where his path was going to end, and he had reached the pinnacle of it. He was at the place to where, because when he died, he's lying there literally in Kenobi's arms. And he's like, is he the one? And Kenobi's like, yeah, he's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And they're having that whole entire massive moment because the weight of it is enormous.
Mm-hmm.
But from the outside looking in, like, it means nothing. Like, there's just people fighting outside in the sand with lightsabers from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's absolutely crazy how they were able to connect those two things. They were able to give it the massive weight with it being such a simplistic ending.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was cool to see too.
They connected Ezra and Obi-Wan as well. Like those two met. Like it's nuts. I don't like that they gave you the Alec McGinnis Obi-Wan in this because he wouldn't have been that old at this point. But whatever, no big deal.
But yeah. But see, this was supposed to be. Was Rebels 5 years before?
No.
I feel like it was only a matter of a couple of years because Leia was in it. Leia was in. Was it season 3?
Yeah, she was in there, and she was.
I think the beginning of season 3.
She was teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
And so, we're supposed to see her as a teenager in episode 4 anyway. But I mean, definitely an older teenager. I just think that the arc that they gave Maul from, Lord knows, from the Phantom Menace all the way through the whole entire storyline was really good. And that episode, I remember when it aired and watching it, I just remember thinking like, it's ridiculously crazy how he was in one movie, got chopped in half, died, and then progressed the whole entire way that he did.
It makes you wonder if, like, maybe them killing him in that movie was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have done that, and they're just going to rewrite it and be like, okay, he didn't really die. Like, we're not going to go fully and explain. He didn't really die. He's just here.
Maul is like he is Filoni's headcanon. Like he's like, no. That dude was badass. We're going to bring him back and do a whole 9 with him.
Well, y'all, that's all I really got to say about Rebels, and my dogs are going nuts, and it's getting a little hard for me to sit up longer these days. Is there anything else y'all wanted to talk about? Anything else y'all wanted to say?
I'm going to give a piece about this Triple R real fast because no one else has watched it, but it was brought up in the chat.
Esther was off work, and she didn't want to watch it, so.
I'm going to tell you right now, this thing was about a 3-hour movie, three something plus. Could have been almost 3 movies. I watched Avatar, and I thought there are bits and pieces in Avatar that could have been cut out. This RRR movie is an indie movie. It's like a Hindu Indian flick. It does not care what you want. It is essentially its own thing, and not only its own thing. There's a whole entire dancing that you're just waiting for it to end in it, and it doesn't end. This whole movie is just about the same exact thing. I've watched. I finished it, I think, 3 days ago, because I had to watch it like in bits and pieces because it was so much of a movie. There are things we talk about when it comes to like cumulative stories, like with Star Wars and shit, even Star Trek. But like Star Wars is mainly, we just talked about Maul. There is something to be said about a good story that can actually like transcend many years with good backstory, good future telling, and everything else with it too. I highly recommend that you watch it. It's going to take you a few sittings, and I'll have to find the actual like timestamps in it to actually tell you like, here's a good break. and then here's a good break, so that you can actually like take breaks and like chop it up a little bit, because it is almost each arc could be its own movie, and it could be a trilogy, and you could watch the whole entire thing and still be happy with it.
Okay.
I've only watched a handful of like Hindu Indian flicks, and especially when they start talking about the, the everything that happened in the early 1900s and with Britain, the partition, all that type of stuff. Totally crazy. However, I mean, they didn't lack in budget on this film, and not only did they not lack in budget, like when you watch it, you're like, what is going on? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
That's kind of like par for the course for us, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
If you watch Doom Patrol, you have nothing left to do to prepare yourself for this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was gonna watch it the other night, but then Ashley got off work and she came home and it was 3 hours, and she was like, "I don't want to start something 3 hours." I was like, "Yeah, me neither. Not right now." So
I'll find timestamps. I'll hook you up. I'll give you bits and pieces so you can split it up a little bit.
Cool deal. All right. Well, y'all, hate to cut it a little shorter than normal, but we're at that 2-hour mark. It's right in that wheelhouse. If you've got nothing else, I say we go ahead and get out of here, because tomorrow's my first day back to work in about 2.5 weeks. So I got to get up and do things. So we'll see how that goes. But Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can find me on the Twitter at My Lady Kitten. Yeah, exactly. The Twitter.
The tweet.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The only thing I've really been, going off about is just our wonderful football team that our last game. That's the look. That's the faces I was looking for.
Season's over. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I mean, I feel better at the end of the season than I thought I would. So I mean, it's not a complete and utter wash. So we got the one fire we wanted over this season. So I'm like, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. But that's pretty much it. I mean, you can probably find me on the TikTok as well too. I like to put up TikToks every now and again of my wonderful my 70 and 80 pound dogs. So
nice.
Yeah, so you get to see them. So you might even see my cats too.
I hear you. Put them out there. Your brother's animals.
Yeah, exactly.
Ross, where can they find you, buddy?
Right here, unless you find me in real life.
That's right. And you can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. It's my personal handle. Check out at GCS Podcast 1's the show handle. I am on the C3 Panthers podcast live every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jump on the Friday free for all every once in a while. Madden Simulation, Sunday free post games. But on this show, we're live every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless life gets in the way, which we try to announce. We try to go live then, but that's usually the show times. We're talking about everything you love: movies, television shows, books, news, all that good stuff. So we're here every week. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Yeah. I'm a little tired here myself. I guess until next week, y'all.
Well, like I said, Happy New Year, all. So
Happy New Year.
Got a fun year to look forward to. A lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, say that now.
All right.
You be quiet. Don't you jinx it. Be quiet. Like I said, you got to have positive energy. Positive energy.
It's the way to go in 2023. Positive energy. That's the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, y'all. We'll keep pounding.
Bye, guys.